Hello, hi, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna dive right into the reckoning box. Let me show you. This, my dear friends, is the reckoning box, and it is quite full, as you will see. Things that I need to try again, get some more use out of, and figure out if it's going to stick around in my collection or not. And so maybe from here on out, I'll show you my thought process in picking out what I want to try. But today I went ahead and picked some things out. And I'm going to try until I get to the point where it's really only eyeshadow, because it is majority eyeshadow, I think. I'm going to be picking just samples and random things that will make a full face. So I have the RMS Beauty Foundation sample packet, the Divine Rose eyeshadow palette from Pat McGrath, the bronzer contour from Patrick Ta, and then we'll pick a lipstick, maybe one of the Lawless or the Merit. I don't have a lot of blush in there, so I'm tempted to repurpose something else for blush, or we're just gonna see. But I'll always fill in the gaps with things that I am just currently using, things in my kit. With that said, cheers, good morning. I just got out of the shower, I gotta get ready for work. I have a very large cup of coffee here, and I need to do skin prep. I love that this mug is so large for skin prep. Because I've been out of the shower for a minute, let's rehydrate the face. I'll use the 24 karat snail hydrating serum mist from Moly, 92% snail secretion filtrate, 24 karat gold apparently, and niacinamide. I don't know. I got this because I was very interested in it because I love snail mucin. And I love snail mucin because it is anti-inflammatory and just helps soothe my skin. And I have seen a difference using the serum that I've been using for a few years now. But I need to add some water back into my skin because it is quite dry feeling. And traditionally I have used the Fit Glow Sea Ceramide for like the first 2 years on my channel. I'm out of that, so I have this. I'm going to use it up and then we'll go from there, because I do like to have a hydrating spray separate from hypochlorous acid, something just to add hydration back into the skin. If I'm in a pinch, I can use MAC Fix Plus for that, but I also just really love the Fit Glow one, so we'll see what happens. And then because I'm feeling so dry, I did get some PR in from Beauty, which is so lovely that they support smaller creators, and Beauty is a brand that I've talked about on my channel a decent amount, so it feels authentic to accept PR from them and try out some of the products that I haven't tried so far. One of them being the Elastic Skin. This is a firming and plumping serum with copper peptides, vegan growth factors, and phytomucin. So I'm actually really excited to see if this will fit into my routine. And this is a refillable product, so they have some skincare that's now refillable. So this is actually glass, which is really nice. It's not plastic hiding plastic. And the refill part is this little tube. So it's really nice that it's like just this tube. It would be nice to have no plastic, right? But I definitely see how this keeps a lot more plastic out. So you're reusing the pump, and this is glass, so you don't have to replace it and you can repurpose it, which is nice. And it just feels heavy and luxe. The packaging on this serum specifically is much more my speed. I'm not a huge bright color packaging person, but it comes out blue. And I used this last night and it was really nice. I think if you have skin that doesn't need as much hydration, you could probably use this as a moisturizer. It's that hydrating of a serum. It has kind of like a gel consistency. And I've been wanting to incorporate more copper peptides. I do have a peptide booster that I use from Causemetics, but I think this has a much more concentrated amount. We'll see if I see any difference. I think the jury's out on a lot of different copper peptides. I know Neod and The Ordinary are some of the better copper peptides. But yeah, I'm really interested to see how this works. This also gives a nice glow to the skin, which I appreciate. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'll keep you posted on this. Love the refillable and heavy kind of packaging of it all. And then once I let that sit for a minute, I'll use the Beauty of Joeson Relief Sunrise and Probiotics. I have the SPF 50++++, which is the Korean version of this sunscreen. Whew. We had really good discourse in the comments below. Thank you for keeping me abreast of this. I did catch up with Charlotte, who's my favorite skin influencer, who owns the brand Do. She's very informative. She does really good research, and she tested out the US formulation of this. And while she said it was a good sunscreen, it's still not in anywhere in the comparison of this. Now, I did get mine on iHerb, but potentially I had purchased before they came out with the US version. So I don't know if iHerb is going to be where you can purchase this from here on out. Getting quite a good amount of use out of it for the first kind of month, 2 months, maybe a month and a half. And it is nice. It does sink into the skin and kind of dry down really nicely. It does not irritate my eyes, which is nice, and it hasn't caused skin irritation. However, I don't know if I would go out of my way to purchase this through like Yes Style, because I really like the Beauty mineral and my skin does well with mineral. So the only thing that I think would make me want to stick with Beauty of Joeson over the Beauty's price, I think this is about $15 and the Beauty is $42. So that's something, but also the Beauty has a pump. I don't know. Jury's out. We're going to test them side by side once I get a little bit further down and I open the Beauty, but yeah, so far I like it. And I'm going to let this sit and dry a bit because I do not have any experience with the RMS foundation, but it's one that I've wanted to try. It's the Re-Evolve Natural Finish Foundation. It's silicone free and it's skincare infused. It says long-lasting medium coverage, hydrates, firms, and softens skin. It says it's fresh feeling and easy to blend. And because it's hydrating, I want to give this just a minute to dry down. I'm very excited because I think this 00 shade will work enough for today. And if it doesn't, I'm just working from home and I dare someone on a video call to tell me my foundation's too dark. Like, what a weird thing. And then I do have friends that can use some of these darker shades, so I'll put that off to the side. Okay, it's looking a little dark. Oh lordy, a little dark, but I think we can make it work. See how much lighter my neck is because my skin gets very reactive when I touch it. What are we thinking? It's dark. It's dark, but we can get an idea of finish and things, so let's just go for it, shall we? I'm just gonna dot this. Not too much to start, because if we shear it out, the color won't be as offensive. And to help with that, I'll use my Instapop brush from Real Techniques to get a light coverage, or like a sheer wash, kind of blend it out a little bit more. Frank is on defense today for some reason. Like some days he doesn't mind that my husband is making noise in the other room, and other days he's convinced we're under siege. So I don't know, but hopefully he cooperates for filming. Okay, so there we have kind of a first lighter layer. This definitely looks heavier on my skin than I traditionally like my foundation to. It's not bad by any stretch, but I don't know that I would add more for more coverage. I'm getting really good coverage. It's definitely really tamped down the redness. It is kind of clinging to different areas where I have more texture or more facial hair. Yeah, it's not bad, but would I rush out to purchase this? No. What are you gonna do? And the shade's not too bad. Actually, let's add a little bit because I'm clinging so much here. The back half of my face feels a little bare, so we'll add a little bit there. Maybe a touch more up here. Just the slightest amount. I didn't put a whole lot. I do love using a brush like this. One, because it gives you a lighter layer and you don't add too much product, but it also disperses it nicely. So if I'm not sure how a foundation's gonna react, it's nice to pull this one out. There, see? I think it tends to want to cling where you place it. So maybe a denser brush would work better, but I like to kind of shear it out a little bit with this brush. And I think we'll make up for this with concealer. So tried and true rose ink just under the eyes, maybe a little on the chin because I get red there. And then I like to add a tiny little dot next to my nose. Blending that with the Rare Beauty foundation brush. Yeah, this is gonna fix any deepness in that color, or at least help it blend into my skin better, because this concealer is brightening for me, but not brightening to the point where it doesn't look like it fits or it accentuates my dark under eyes. This is just my Holy Grail concealer. I love it, and I have that in LX01. Then to set, Westman Atelier in Pink Bubble. I'm already getting a dip in this powder. I would love for them to come out with a refill before I need to repurchase this. Or else I'm just going to be amassing these compacts and then we can just Franken makeup, you know. Because I do love this powder a lot, and I'm just doing it under my eyes, my eyelids, and my nose and chin. I think we're looking good so far. I think these are playing well together, but again, it's just not up to the same caliber. It's not bad, it's just not the same caliber as the foundations that I tend to go to over and over again, which is the Chantecaille Future Skin Gel, the It CC Cream, and used to be NARS, now e.l.f., but we do need to retest the e.l.f. because I also want things that don't feel like makeup on the skin. This is surprisingly lighter feeling than I thought it would be, but it's still not as unnoticeable or undetectable as the Chantecaille or the Jane Iredale powder, but that's a powder, you know. Moving on, let's do contour and bronzer. I have this in the shade She's Statuesque. I'm going to use my Rare Beauty blush brush and just do a little bit of shaping on the cheekbones with that bronzer. This thing is just so old. If it still performs, that's very lovely. But I'm more curious about how the bronzer is going to look, because if it's not the shade that I like with bronzer, then I'm just going to pass this along, or I don't know. It might be too old to pass along, and I'm not sure what to do with it because it might just sit in my collection until the end of the snow buy. I do like the formula a lot. I love these cream powder duos from him. It's just not necessarily the color that I want. And then a Travel Real Techniques. This is the multitask brush, just a fluffy brush we'll use for bronzer. And I know that he usually uses the cream on top. I typically do, but my brain just does contour first for whatever reason. So that's why. That is why. See, it's not bad. It is very nice for fair skin. I don't know what it is. Like too yellow, too warm? I don't know. When I picked this up again for the Amanda Batula makeup that I did on my channel, I really liked it. I'm gonna add a little to my brow bone just to get us started with the eye look. Yeah, I don't mind it, but I don't get like, ooh yeah feelings when I use it. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that one, and we'll recap all of these at the end. But let's move in. Let's get eyebrows out of the way while an airplane goes overhead. I just used the $1 Billion Brow Micro Brow Pencil that I've been using in Taupe. I'm getting the hang of this product, but it still does require a little bit more attention to detail, which I love the products I can just like whack a brow on with. But that said, let's start building an eye look. I grabbed this one today because I am feeling more of like a sultry, deep, smoky eye. And I've always loved the idea of this palette, but when it comes to what I actually create looks-wise with it, I don't know that it hits the mark for me, which is a shame because it is a lovely package and it is very expensive. And I did spend my hard-earned money, and I'm just working with random brushes that are in front of me today. Starting off with Katie Jane Hughes Spectrum 11, like a blender brush, but it's quite flat, so we're gonna see how that works out today. And I'm gonna start with like the intuitive crease shade, which is this. But instead of starting at the crease, let's switch it up today, maybe. What do we think? I'm gonna start with this all over the lid. And I don't know what shade that is. It's just the lightest shimmery shade. So I'm gonna pack that on a nice big fluffy brush. This is the Pro Perfect Eyeshadow Base brush from Beautypie. And I am gonna hit the inner corner a bit with that because it is light enough to do so. It's been so long since I played with my Pat McGrath shadows that I remember the formula not being bad necessarily, but not one that I'm like over the moon about. I prefer like a creamy powdery shadow that puts down a decent amount of pigment, but that blends very easily. So I feel like the formulas I gravitate to, the creaminess gives it that pigment punch, but also the creaminess mixed with the powderiness allows it to blend easy. So think like the Anastasia Beverly Hills formula, the Lawless formula in the Makeup by Mario. And I know a lot of people don't like that one because there's a lot of kick up, and two, because it can lead muddy. But it's so funny because what leads muddy to me is things like Natasha Denona where you have to place and pat. I like to smear, essentially, and those types of formulas I mentioned are very conducive to smearing. Kind of between these two on what I want to do, maybe on the lid or in the inner corner. See, I'm not a bronze person. I love this shade. This is a shade that I wear a lot. So I'm wondering if I go out of my comfort zone today. We also have these shades to play with. This is very pretty, but so is that. Maybe let's do this and top it with that. No, let's do this shade. We're gonna layer shimmers and see what we get. And I'm just gonna brush that all over the lid minus that inner corner. See, this is where I need to play more because that's turning out very pretty. And I am just gonna bring that up into the crease because I'm not against a shimmery shade in the crease. Okay, wait, am I having fun? Am I flexing creativity skills? Yeah, that's pretty. Okay, let's keep leaning on this feeling, and with that crease brush, let's go into that deeper shade that I traditionally like, or wait, should we do this shade? Yeah, let's do this shade since I don't use that very much. And just add this to the outer V. And cue my husband on a call. Okay, I feel like we're having fun. We're doing it. I'm going to take this shade now, this super pretty reflective pink gold shade, and I am going to just top the lid. Oh, okay. Okay. And then to get into the more sultriness that I wanted to do today, I want to start with this brown and see how we get on. It is much more red and warm than I traditionally like, but this might play on the color of my eyes a little bit better than what I typically go for. I'm just gonna line the lash line, and then we will create a flick, but not like a traditional wing. I'm actually gonna bring it in so it's like a true outer V. And I have that on a Give Me Glow G7 II. This is so funny. My husband starts like 2 hours earlier than I do for work. And it always kills me that he has so many meetings, which is funny because I work in a very global company. So there are people online, but I typically don't have meetings until a little bit later in the morning. And I don't start until 2 hours. We're definitely getting the level of smokiness that I've been really craving. Just to clean up some of my blending, I am going to go into that kind of crease shade and just try to help blend the sharp edges of that outer V we created and then up into the crease a little bit. What do we think? What do we think? I really like it, but I do want to grab from a different palette. I'm just going to grab whatever's next to me. It is the Makeup by Mara Moonlight. I just want a matte beige shade to try to help clean up underneath the brow because we got a little carried away. Because I have rando brushes with me, I'm just going to use this. This was a freebie out of one of the Dose of Colors palettes. Just with that beige, just hit right under the brow bone and just help blend that a little bit better. Okay, okay. Now the question becomes, and I'm going to flick any fallout away. The question becomes, do I want to bring anything underneath? Maybe that crease shade because it's not too dark, and I'll just bring it on like the outer third, and whatever's left over blend it in. Yeah, that's nice. Oh, I'm gonna have lots of thoughts. I'm gonna grab where we picked up that crease brush and just kind of fix the shape out here. It's looking a little stark in the viewfinder. Not quite as stark in person. Actually not as stark at all, and it's definitely a little deeper in person as well. And then I always do this, even though I have powder on, I'll just take my foundation brush just to make sure I'm still bright and blended here and we got all the fallout gone. Okay, and then what I was thinking of trying to do is using that crease shade, that dusty shade, as a blush. I like a purple blush, but I do think we could use some more. So let's see if there's anything. Maybe we'll use a lipstick. That might work. That's Cookie. Ooh, that's quite warm though. That's a little bit peachier. That's in the running. So we have Soft Truffle, which is more pink than peach. So that's in the running. And then Daisy Girl, which I know is very pink, so I wasn't a huge fan of that. So Daisy Girl, Soft Truffle, Fawn, and Cookie. We could always put Daisy in the center, and I could try to use it that way. But then I have Merit L'Avenue. Okay, that's not, I don't think that's what we're going for. Or is it? Let's try L'Avenue, and the backup will be Fawn. Okay, so for lining, let's do Big Lift from Maybelline. And let's try L'Avenue. That is a pretty color, but it grabs dry spots. This might need to find another home. The color is pretty, but I think I have it elsewhere, and this is feeling a little too much. So let's try Fawn. I want to give these products a fair shake, so I'm gonna put some Summer Fridays lip balm on to soften that up. And while we let that soften up the lips, I'll apply my mascara, the Sarah Creal. I've really been enjoying this. This doesn't sit though. It's quite rounded, and I just tried to sit it down. Take that for what you will, it doesn't bother me. But I do really like this formula. And I'm hopeful that adding some mascara to this look will really send it over the edge, like make it look nice and pulled together. Oh yeah, just adds that depth. It looks so much patchier and blown out. I'm still trying to figure out this lighting, but in person it's much more blended and much deeper. Maybe if I like shield a little bit. Yeah, maybe I'll try to insert a picture. I think this is showing you a better idea. I'm in person. I did flick some mascara, so we'll let that dry, but I do really like this mascara. It removes really lovely. And all that jazz. Let's wipe my lips off and add Fawn and see if we can make a blush. I have a little bit of liner left. I really only use liner to give me like a nice edge, so we'll see if we need to touch up, but yes, let's use the Lawless lipstick in Fawn. Yeah, see, I think that's a really nice shade for that, and I could go back in with that Big Lift liner just to add a little dimension. Ooh, I like that. And then I want to just use this as my blush today, just to keep it cohesive and not need to grab a different product out of my vanity because that's in my bedroom and I'm in my office. And if you haven't used your lipstick as a blush, it is a surefire way for the colors to all jive on the skin. Now, I wouldn't do this with every lipstick formula, but the Lawless is very nice and creamy. All right, and there we have it, folks. We tested out a lot of makeup. I'm actually quite happy with this phase of makeup, and I think it like goes against this nice dusty kind of teal shade that I have on. I'm really happy. Let's run through the products and we'll make some final decisions. My goal is that I can play with this and either determine, one, if I want to keep playing with it and is an option and put it in the play bin, two, put it back into circulation with my everyday makeup, or three, I know right off the bat it's not worth looking into anymore and I can get rid of it. So let's start from the top. The RMS Foundation. It's not bad. It looks nice. I think it jives well with my other products. Looking at it close up, it is a bit more makeup-y looking, especially in areas where it grabbed a little bit, but it's not bad. I just don't think it stacks up to my other favorite foundations. So for me, I'm glad I didn't purchase a full size and I got to try it out, and I probably won't be purchasing a full size, but the need to understand what it's like is fulfilled for me, and therefore I feel good about it. So we're going to clear that out of the space. I might wear the sample a couple more times until it's empty just to fully understand it, but I don't feel the need to really. I have better already existing in my collection. As for the bronzer contour, it's not bad. It's a very kind of light look, but that's a look that I don't necessarily go for. And when I think to the bronzers that I have, cream, I have my Phytosurgence. I love that. That is the perfect shade for me. I have Biscuit as well, which I like a little bit better than this. This just is too light, too yellow, too orange. Not orange, too light, too yellow, and like warm. So I actually think I'm okay. And unless my sister or someone very close to me wants to try this, it is just so gross. And I did almost hit pan in the contour, which is very lovely. And I did quite a divot in the bronzer. You can kind of see there. So I do think I got use out of it. It's just, the formula is lovely. If the shades match you, I would recommend it, but I think I'm ready to pass it on. Also, I know a lot of people love the packaging and it's pretty to look at, but it just feels lightweight and chintzy. And is it nicer than maybe some drugstore plastic packaging? Yeah, sure, but it's nothing that gives me the feels when I use it. So I think I'm ready to pass that. What else? What else? Oh, the eyeshadow palette. I'm so torn because I do love this, and I do think this is like not an everyday look for me, and these are not colors that I think to pull every day, but it is very, very lovely. And I think for now, this and Utopian Dreams, because Utopian Dreams is the other palette I have, they're like perfect companion palettes because they all live in this like rosy peachy gold theme with a couple pops of coral and mauve. So I think I will keep these around to play with, because I think where Pat McGrath is a lot of fun is layering up the shimmers. And I'm going to scrape that away now. And I do think it can, like some people would consider this a muddy makeup look. It all depends on what type of look you're going for. When I'm far away, it looks blended and nice, and no one is up as close as my mirror to be like, oh, that's not perfectly blended. It's kind of like a one and done look where it all melds together, and I don't mind that. Yeah, I think these are going to stick around to be played with more, and we'll see if I can branch out into colors more, because that was a lot of fun for me. All right, and I think last up is lips. This one, the shade is really pretty, but I don't know that I love the formula. They do such a good job on packaging, and this is an example of how plastic packaging can still feel special and luxe and gorgeous. I just don't think this is the shade for me, and I know that I'm not going to reach for it over the shades that I have in my collection, so I think I'm going to pass that one. Pass it along. The Lawless, I'm going to keep them all. I think the reason these ended up in this kind of reconciling bin or things I need to test out more, the other shades I gravitate towards more, but this has showed me that based on the look that I do, this range specifically allows me to play with nudes in ways that other ranges haven't really felt approachable to me. And I love the lipstick on the cheek trick. It's such an easy one. These are like aluminum, I want to say, and they are magnetic, which is really nice, but the color is what gets me. They just did a really phenomenal job with color, so I'm going to insert these back into my vanity actually. So we've got 2 being passed along, 1 going back into the vanity, and the other going into the play bin. So I feel like that's pretty good for a first run at this. So I hope you enjoyed. Hope you're having a wonderful start to your day, as I am, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye.